All right. So today we are going to discuss about the topic of closing the project. Okay. So we will discuss again 5 questions. We'll try to understand the mindset. We'll try to understand uh, how do we answer such questions and what kind of questions will be there from this particular topic. Okay. So without wasting time, let us dive right into that. Just a quick reminder: whenever you have a doubt, whenever you want to discuss anything with regard to this topic, just let me know. Okay, to the question, you see any term that is not clear, you see any decision that is not clear, please ask the question. The more you clarify your doubt, the better it is going to be. All right. Let's start with discussing closing the project. Okay. So first question on your screen, go through the question, put the answer in the chat box, and then we will discuss. All right. So let's discuss this. The project team has diligently worked to meet the project objective in a time sensitive project. As the project approaches its closing phase, the project manager notices that some of the project team members have already started working on tasks for another project. What action should be taken by the project manager? Okay, so here the question is that we are almost towards the closer. Okay, as we are approaching the closing phase, the project manager noticed that some of the team members have already started for another project, right? Very quite general thing. You are closing the project, then the team will move to another project. So the situation that you are facing as a project manager is that there are team members who have already started working for some other project, maybe some under some other project manager or whatever. But that's the situation. Now the question is, what will you do as a project manager? Let's see. Allow the team members to continue working on both projects simultaneously to expedite the project closure. See, if they work simultaneously on both the projects, it will not expedite the project closure, right? You have to have proper focus on the closure of the project. Only then it will get expedited. By working both on both the projects simultaneously, their mind, their work will get distributed, so it will not expedite. So this is not a correct one. Then we go to B. Reassign the team members to other project tasks unrelated to the current project. Okay, so this one is saying as they have already started working on the task, reassign them to other project tasks. What about the closing phase? Okay, how would we close our project if we do this? Okay, so that is the question that should come to our mind, that if I, let's say for example, reassign the members to other project tasks which is unrelated to the current project, then how would I close my this project? See, for a project manager, this project is important. right? I may or may not be related to the other project, so I may or may not reassign. I may not be able to assign them to a different project, right? First of all. Second, why would I do that? First, I would like to close my project, and then I would like to reassign the resources, right? And nothing in this question information tells me that my work with these team members are over. Okay, it only says that we are approaching the closure. So reassigning the team members is also not a good choice. Then we go to C. Conduct a performance evaluation to assess the effectiveness and dedication of the team members. Okay, now there's no question for that. Should we conduct a performance evaluation? Maybe yes, maybe not, but it is not related to this question at hand. Okay, to assess the effectiveness and dedication, what will I do with that? Currently situation is that they are working in another task. What should I do? Okay, should I conduct a performance evaluation? What purpose will it serve? So we can eliminate this. Then we go to D. Gather feedback from the team members on their capacity to manage multiple projects and discuss potential solutions. See, what is D doing? D is saying that we are facing a problem, right? So what we are doing is we are trying to discuss with the team members. Who are these team members? The members who are involved in the problem, right? They have started working with somebody else. So I have a problem in hand. I'm looking and discussing with people who are involved in the problem and trying to find potential solutions. Not a bad option at all. Right? Now, you may be confused, okay, why should I look at the capacity to manage multiple projects and all the other things? But it doesn't matter. Right? Why does it not matter? Because you have a problem at hand. You are almost at the closer stage. It is very much possible that your team's effort, which is required in this project, is less or minimal. Okay, so at that point of time, they may distribute their time into some other project also, but there has to be a proper understanding for that. Okay, so when we looked at B, we said we will reassign them to a different project. Okay, D, we are saying let us try to understand can they work in different project, and then let us find out the potential solutions. Right? So B is not justified as an action because we don't know whether we should reassign them to different project or not, and what would be the impact on this project. So B is not that good. D is better than B, and hence we'll pick D over B. A and C was very easy to eliminate. B could be a little bit confusing, but there is no point to assign. Why would I assign just based on this information? I don't have an information to say that yes, this is better than the other option. Okay, should they work in my project? Should they work in another project? And hence you would eliminate B. Is it clear, everyone? Any questions? Any doubts?
Yes, Abhijit, in option B, reassign the team members to other project tasks unrelated to the current project.
Mhm.
Means we can release our the team members who are not part of the focused work current project.
Okay. See, if you have to release, okay, then the question will very clearly tell you that you are releasing them in the project. And when you release someone to a different project, what you don't release them to different project. Okay. What you say is we have released from our project. Now they are free. Okay, then the other project manager or me, if I need them resources in next project, then I will assign them task, or the other project manager would assign the task. Okay, so reassigning the team members to other project tasks means that there is another project. Okay, you are completing project P1, there is another project P2 which has multiple tasks T1, T2, and T3. See, as a project manager, you might not be aware of the other project. Okay, so how can you reassign the task? That's the question. Can you release them? Yes. Then it should say that release the resources. Probably. Okay, I would release the resources. But can I reassign the task to other project which is unrelated to my project? I may not be in a good position to do that. And that's why we have eliminated it. Releasing is correct. If they said release, then yes, it's a good option to consider. Is that clear, Pawan?
Ah, yes, thank you.
Perfect. Anybody else? Any question, please? All right. So now let us move to the next question. All right, so let's discuss this. A software development project has reached its final milestone. During the closing process, the project manager receives conflicting feedback from different stakeholders regarding the success criteria. Okay, some stakeholders claim that the project has not met the success criteria, while others assert it has exceeded expectations. Okay, so we have reached our final milestone. What does this mean? This means that we are at the closer stage. Okay, as you can see in different questions, they are using different language to say the same thing. Okay, so software development project has reached its final milestone. During the closing process, the project manager receives conflicting feedback from different stakeholders regarding the success criteria. Some people are saying it has met the success criteria, while others assert it has exceeded expectations. Some says it has not met, some says it has exceeded expectations. So what is the issue? Right? The issue is that stakeholders have different opinions about the project. Okay, which means that stakeholders probably are not clear on success criteria, or maybe the success criteria itself was not clear. Let's see, how would the project manager address this situation? Let's see. Collect additional data to validate the success criteria and involve an external auditor to make an impartial assessment. Now, what are we doing here? We are saying, okay, let us gather a little bit more data to validate whether we have met the criteria or not. Okay, and involve an external auditor to make an impartial assessment. Okay, maybe stakeholders have positive and negative attitude because of which they are saying that they have not met the success criteria. Okay, that is also possible. Or they are not clear of what success criteria is, because of which they are making an issue, or they are not able to assess it. That could also be a reason, right? So there could be multiple reasons why stakeholders would not agree on whether the project has met the success criteria or not. Right? There are multiple reasons, because of the stakeholders' attitude, because they are not able to assess, they don't know how to do it, or they are probably not clear. They know how to do it, but they're not clear on what success criteria is. Okay, so here what we are trying to do, we are trying to get more data, we are trying to validate it ourselves. Okay, and we are trying to involve somebody external who could do an impartial assessment. Probably looks like a decent option, we can keep it. Then you go to B. Acknowledge the differing opinions, but proceed with the project closure based on the original success criteria defined in the project charter. See, when you have difference in opinion between the stakeholders, okay, it is important that we conclude it, right? So if there is a conflict, we must be able to resolve it. Without the resolution, you cannot complete the project, right? Conflicts must be resolved, whatever action that you have to take, but you have to resolve that conflict. Okay, acknowledging that there is a differing opinion in itself suggests that once you have acknowledged it, you have to resolve it. Right? You cannot say that, okay, fine, you think the project is not complete as per the criteria. Other people think that we have exceeded the expectations. Good, thank you for your feedback. Let me close the project. Okay, that is not a good choice. What we have to do is we have to resolve the conflict. A is actually doing something to resolve the conflict. B is saying, okay, acknowledged the differing opinion, but let me close based on the project charter original success criteria. Okay, it might not be right because see, success criteria can change. Okay, and project charter needs to be updated because of that, or maybe the success criteria is not clear, because of which there is not a consensus, or there is not a clarity on whether it has met the criteria or not. Right, so it's not that the issue is only with the stakeholders, the issue could be with the success criteria also. So there could be both the type of issues, right? One issue with the success criteria, or one with the stakeholders themselves. But this one is saying, okay, my success criteria is fine, even though you have differing opinion, I'll close the project. Might not be a good choice. Okay, so we can eliminate it. We should not do that. Very, very clear. If you have conflict, resolve it. Only then you can move ahead, or at least plan that, okay, we will resolve it 5 days later, 6 days later. You cannot say that, yes, there is a conflict, I have acknowledged it, let me keep doing the project as it is. Right? Organize a meeting with all stakeholders to discuss and reach a consensus on the success criteria. Now, this option tells me that all the stakeholders who are having confusion, I am bringing them all together. Okay, and then I am discussing to reach a consensus. Okay, it could be a virtual meeting, it could be any meeting, but we are trying to reach a consensus on the success criteria, which means we are trying to understand and trying to bring everyone together on the success criteria. This looks like a good choice, okay, but there's a twist. See, consensus on the success criteria should have been taken when we were planning itself. Okay, when we were at initiating stage, when we were at the planning stage, that is when we should have taken the consensus on the criteria itself. Now is the time to check whether we have made the success or not, success criteria or not, because we are at the final milestone. At this point of time, I am not looking for a vote on the success criteria. I am looking to validate if my project has met the success or not. Now, if you look at A and C, you would see the difference. Okay, A is saying I am collecting additional data, so I am getting more information from the project so that I can validate my success criteria, whether I have been able to meet the project successfully or not. So I am gathering more data. And then another thing that I'm doing is to involve an external auditor, okay, who could give me an impartial assessment. So what am I doing? I'm working on both the parts, right? As you can see, we discussed about multiple reasons why there could be an impact on the success criteria where people are not clear and they are having conflict. Why could there that be? Because they are not able to assess, because success criteria is not clear, or because they have bad attitude about the project. In this option, you are covering almost two things. One, not clarity on success criteria, so I'm validating. There could be some issue with the stakeholders, so I'm involving external stakeholders. So if you look at A, you are looking at more options than C, which is saying only validating the criteria, also not validating the criteria. You are just reaching a consensus on the criteria that yes, this should be the success criteria, right? This is the difference between A and C. On the difficult questions in the exam, okay, it will become very, very important to understand which activity is talking about which process group. Okay, this is where we should be doing it in terms of planning. This is where we would be doing at closing or monitoring and controlling stage, right? And hence A is better than C. I would eliminate C. Then we go to D. Postpone the project closure until the conflicting feedback is resolved. Right now, this also is a good option. Why? Because one of the conflict resolution technique is to ensure that we have withdrawn from the conflict, but we are getting more information, and then when it is there, then we will resolve. But at this point of time, we are at closure. Okay, so if we say that okay, let us work for more information, try to solve it, then it's okay. Okay, but otherwise, just postponing and doing nothing about it is not a good choice. Okay, so although conflict resolution has an option of withdrawal where you resolve the conflict later, but what you do is you decide that okay, for now it is not that much a priority. We need more information, and then we'll try to resolve it. Okay, but here it is not saying so. It is just saying that postpone the project closure until the feedback is resolved. But what will you do to resolve the feedback, right? And why is it not a priority? We are at the final milestone. We have to close the project, so it is immediate next thing. Right? Hence, D is also eliminated. Okay, so if you look at the choices, okay, A and C were confusing. Okay, B is wrong because we should not just acknowledge the opinions and say that okay, I'll go ahead as I'm going ahead. Right, so that is wrong. D is wrong because I would not postpone the project. I would do something about it. Okay, A is better. C is not, because C is talking about reaching a consensus only. Here we are trying to validate the success criteria, and we are also involving somebody who can do impartial assessment so that we are covering all the grounds which could result in there is a conflicting feedback, right? So we are trying to assess what could result in the conflicting feedbacks, and then we are attacking it, right? Hence, A is better than the others. Yes, Kirti, go ahead, please. You raised hand.
Amit, I'm little confused with the question because it starts saying that a software development project. So in all probabilities, this is agile, right?
Why
The software development is
is
okay. This is where I got confused, and then it also said the project charter word, which comes into traditional.
No.
projects?
No, that also is not true.
Okay. Yeah, so I misunderstood the question itself.
And thanks for bringing that up. Okay, although I'm being very straightforward. Okay,
Yep.
because I want to have that conflicting emotions, right? I want to have that strong this understanding, right? Software development project does not mean agile. In no way it means agile. Okay, we are not diving deep into how does the answer change if it is agile or not. Right? We are not going into that, but it's a very important understanding. The industry does not define which approach we are using. Okay, in no way does it define. Never. It could be very much a traditional construction, can be a very much an agile approach project. Okay, so I just wanted to clarify that, and that is it. Project charter also is used in both traditional and agile. Typically, you will see that in agile approach, people don't use project charter. Okay, they use statement of work, scope of work, contract document as project charter, but it's not that in agile they should not. Project charter is part of initiation. Okay, and this is where we decide which approach we have to use. Right. So if it is a part of initiation, and this is where we decide which approach to use, I mean, project charter should definitely be done, because project charter will tell me whether I should use traditional or agile approach. Right. So that also does not define that. If it is project charter, then we are not using agile. That is also wrong. Yes, please. Now let us dive deep into it. Yes. So if it is agile, how does the answer change?
No, I got confused in options and questions, and um, I went with the option which was completely wrong, B.
Okay. All right. Okay. But yeah, again, I mean, if you think agile, and if you think that project charter should not be in agile, then it should not have been selected.
Yeah, and see, success criteria couldn't be changed if they are right. Success criteria has been defined at the start, cannot
Mhm.
be changed later, right?
It can be
So,
changed. See, it can be changed. It's not that when we start with something does not mean that we were always right at that point of time. Okay, if you get more information about the project, if you learn something new, if you have a new technology, if you can provide something more to the customer, okay, success criteria can change. See, generally there has to be a reason for that change. Okay, in the exam for sure. Okay, there is a very big reason because of which we are changing the success criteria, but it's not that it cannot change. Okay, we can change the success criteria, we can change our vision, we can change the value that we are delivering. Everything can change. Project charter can change. Okay, so I'm just giving you a general answer, not related to this question, because that is more important. Okay, so project charter, success criteria, project vision, value that we are delivering, anything that we decide in the project, everything can change. Your project can change in itself. Right? We could start with construction of a 10-floor building. We may end up doing only 5. So many things can change. It's a real word. Things do change. So it can change. I'm giving you again a general idea, not based on this question, but it can change. Definitely, it can change.
okay, so in option B again, Amit, it says that he should evaluate based on success criteria. That
Mm-hmm.
should be the evaluation baseline, I would say, not
Mm-hmm.
the
Okay. Okay.
right.
Okay.
And
Yes.
that is why I went with it. But I acknowledge A is a better one.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, I'm not just because I'm saying all the wrong things, but we should believe in it, right? So yes, now you're clear, right? That acknowledging the differing opinion is good, but we must do something about it. Right? We cannot say that okay, I have acknowledged your problem, but let me proceed with the project closure. It's like the same thing. See, even if it is closure or anything else, in many other questions you might see something else. Right? So acknowledge the differing opinion, but I'm doing my work. Okay, I have acknowledged your problem, but I'll do my work that I have planned, which is the wrong thing to do. If I have acknowledged something, then I would address that. I may say that I'll work on this 15 days later, 20 days later, or 6 months later, depending on my priority. But I have to give some response to that acknowledgement. I have to understand whether that conflict is impacting my things or not. I cannot say that yeah, you have your opinion, I'll go with my closure. Right? So again, for other many other questions, and for everyone else also, for many other questions as well, whether it is closure or execution or planning doesn't matter. If I have a problem, I must attack that problem. I must work on that problem. I must try to solve that problem rather than just acknowledging and moving ahead with closure. We don't do that. We prepare a response and then we move ahead with the plan.
And
Yes.
last question, Amit, that's the last doubt I have. Why would we involve an external auditor when we have a clear, defined criteria and there seems to be a mm, disagreement among the stakeholders?
Okay, because we don't know whether the criteria itself was wrong
Okay.
or the wrong is with the stakeholders. Whether their attitude is wrong, plus minus. See, stakeholders could be positive and negative, right? In my project, somebody would want me to succeed, somebody would not want me to succeed, and because of that, they are saying that okay, the project has failed. Okay, it could be any reason, any political reason also. So I have this as one of the reason. Other reason could be my success criteria itself is either clear or it might not be not. It could be not clear. Right. So I have multiple reasons of any issue. Right. Whenever there is an issue, there is an issue from the both the sides until and unless it is clear. Okay. So either the issue could be with stakeholders or the issue could be with us who could not define the success criteria. Okay. So we have to understand both the things, and that is the reason why in every other question that we solve, we say we will do analysis first. We will try to understand the question first because we want to get to the root of that reason. Okay. Now, in this question, we are not talking about analysis, hence that does not come into picture, but it always does. So, because we want to understand what is the root cause of it, so it could be that my stakeholders are biased. Okay. So, I have now two options, A and C, because B and D could be easily eliminated. A is saying I will gather more data and I will involve somebody else also for unbiased thing. Okay. So, this is addressing a broader range of causes because of which I am facing the problem compared to C, and hence A is better.
Clear, Amit. Thank you.
All right. Anybody else? Yes, please. Pratik, go ahead.
Yes, okay. Pratika, okay. Allow Pratik to.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. So my question was also similar, that why I have excluded A. The reason was external auditor, and my second reason was impartial assessment. So first, what I consider that I don't want to involve external auditor. An impartial assessment is I avoid it because as a project manager, I consider that I will do a impartial assessment myself. So that's why I have rejected this option. But if let's say in option C, if we have given a description little bit different, like organize a meeting with stakeholder to discuss and reach a consensus to success criteria, and second step would be a external auditor, then what will be the answer?
Okay. So you are saying that we are trying to meet as well and as well as do external auditor. Okay. So if the sentence is changed, then this looks a better one because you are bringing everyone together. Okay. And then we are trying to discuss. So it is always good to have a collective decision making. Okay. So collective decision making is always better rather than trying to take a decision alone or ask somebody to take a decision. Okay. It is always better. But just in this case, the wrong thing is that we are trying to reach a consensus on the success criteria, the criteria itself. We are not trying to validate the criteria. Right. And that is the only reason why this is wrong. Otherwise, what you're saying is correct. C would have been much better then.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Perfect. Yes, Nirmal, please go ahead. Sorry for keeping you
Amit,
waiting.
hi. I got your clarification on this particular thing. To go with the A, though I have selected C, but as a general question.
Yes, please go ahead.
This particular thing, when we see this question as a real case scenario, there is always the impact of time on the project if we have this situation.
Yes.
So what about that? Do I have to keep it aside while considering the answer for the question? Because when I selected this answer, that always comes into my mind when I handle a project.
Okay.
Of course, it is going to have impact on the project timeline. And how do I address? Always, everybody has a concern that the project should not exceed or should not follow from there.
No, you have to keep in mind. See, we cannot ignore any of the 6 constraints that we talk about. Right? Time, cost, quality, resources, risk. We cannot ignore it. But what you have to think is, see, unless and until you have the information, okay, you cannot decide. So I'm just trying to extrapolate what you're saying. Okay, and I'm trying to think, get into your shoes and think about it. So probably you think that getting an external auditor might take extra time. I'm just assuming, and I'm discussing, and then we'll discuss your point also. This
Yeah.
might take more time than organizing a meeting. Okay, but the
Correct.
point here is that we don't know, right? How much time will it take you to bring all the stakeholders for a meeting, depending on their availability, depending on their calendar, depending on other things. So we don't know about the time, right? And here also, we don't know whether we already have an external auditor in place who is already at just a phone call away. We don't know that, right? So it might take time, it might not take time. So if we are thinking about time, then we should have that information. Okay, so my suggestion for the PMP exam is that if you don't have an information on something, don't worry about it. Okay, don't worry about the quality of external auditor, right? Whether they are qualified or not, we don't know, right? We don't know, then we don't worry about it. I have to worry about the information which has been given to me. Okay,
Yeah.
I have to compare the options from the information given. So information is, should I involve the auditor or should I conduct a meeting? Okay, conducting a meeting is better because it is internal, right? And I'm bringing everyone. But then what am I doing in that meeting? That makes this option wrong.
Yeah. But what I'm saying basically, even though, as you said, we have to arrange a meeting with the stakeholder, it probably the stakeholder will be available easily. Then I have to appoint an external auditor.
Yeah, so that's what
It
I'm
will take
saying.
longer
It could
time
be
than that.
easy. Yeah, right, exactly. It could be easy, it could be difficult. We don't know that. Right. So when we don't know that, we cannot take decision on that. So that is not a point for us to make or break the decision. Am I able to clarify?
Yeah, okay. Because I have seen the question from that point of view. Because
Yeah,
the time is
and
always there
thanks
until
for bringing that up, because that is definitely there. Time and cost is always playing in our mind, right? So we have to always think about that. Typically, yes, external auditor might take time, but we are not thinking typically, right? Here we are thinking critically.
yeah, because I have seen this question as a real case scenario.
Yes, yes,
And when
absolutely.
you
And
see
what
that
you're
as a
saying is
real case
absolutely correct.
scenario, definitely the time and cost is always running behind in your mind. So you
Correct. Correct.
typically choose a solution with respect to that. So my easiest solution, okay, let us organize a meeting, quick meeting with the stakeholder, reach
Yes.
them to the consensus for the success story to close the project, basically. So that is why I have selected C.
Mhm. Right. But
Because
we
it
have
will
to
have an
also think
impact
about
on the
why
time
we
and
are,
cost.
what kind of meeting we are having. Right. So meeting is to reach a consensus on the success criteria, not to validate what we have done. Okay. So we have to check our project that we have completed, the product that we have completed, vis-a-vis the success criteria. So we have to discuss both the things, not just a consensus on the success criteria, because this will give me a vote from every stakeholder that yes, we are okay with the success criteria. But you are okay with the success criteria. What about the project? Has the project met the success criteria or not? Who will validate that? Right. So that validation is not being discussed. That's what it is. That's what is making this option wrong.
Okay, clear. As Ketki said earlier, I thought the success criteria is always defined and is not going to change. So that's why the stakeholders are varying means not in the same line. Very it is little confusing. So
Okay.
now I
No,
got,
it's
as you
not that.
said, that
It's not
success
that.
criteria can
There.
change.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it
See,
is clear for me.
ideally, the scope is also clear, right? And that's what we work on. But we know that we can make mistakes on scope. The plan is also clear, okay, and it should not change, right? But it does change. Similarly, success criteria also changes. It's not that we are finalized means we are finalized. You get more information, you can verify. It is rare, but it does happen. Right? And because it is rare, and hence it makes it a difficult question. Nothing else.
Okay, that will be helpful for me for further questions. That whatever the information provided in the question, we have to look only from that point of view rather than thinking about other things.
Yes,
Because
yes, I agree
some
to
of the
that.
questions which I have
100%.
answered went wrong, and I was always wondering why it is like showing a wrong answer. If it is not talking about that particular, we should not be worried about it much.
Yes, yes, 100%. Absolutely correct statement that you have made. If it's not talking about that, we don't have to worry about
Thank you for that.
it. All right. Okay, number 3 then. All right, so let's discuss this. You have been managing a software development project for past 6 months. The project has been successfully completed and all the deliverables have been met within the budget and timeline. Now it's time to close the project. Which of the following activities should be included in the project closure phase? Right. So if you are wondering to remember everything that we do in the closure phase, don't do it. Okay, because you will never get that list. You would understand few of the common things, few of the most important things, and you should do that. But if you try to list down everything that we do in the closure phase, it is not possible. Okay, I can give you a general list of what all things we do, but I will also not be able to give you everything that is there. What you have to do is you have to understand what closure means. Okay, and what is the general idea of closure? Closure means wrapping things up. Whatever we have done, we are just wrapping it up. We are neither checking anything, right? We are neither going to customer to show it. Okay, everything is done. Every deliverable that we have completed has been checked, signed, and accepted. In closure phase, we are just bringing it all together and consolidating it. Okay, so closure is all about wrapping things up, about consolidating things. You don't get anything checked there. Okay, so let's look at this. Gathering feedback from stakeholders and team members. Okay, do it during monitoring and controlling phase. Okay, so this activity is a monitoring and controlling activity, not a closure activity. Closure is where you will take a final acceptance from the final key stakeholders, right? Not the feedback from stakeholders and team members. Initiating a new project immediately to utilize the resources. You could do that, but that would be initiation of next project, not the closure of this project. Okay, timeline wise, it could overlap, but you will not call it this project activity. Initiating would be a next project activity. Archiving all project documentation and deliverables. Do we do that? Yes. This is what I meant by consolidating things, right? Conducting a project kickoff meeting to celebrate success. Should we celebrate success? Yes. But it will not be called a project kickoff meeting. Right? C is the best choice. Any doubt? I think this was an easy question. Any doubt, anyone? No, then we can move ahead. Question number 4. All right, so let's discuss this. A large infrastructure project is coming to a close. During the closing process, the project manager discovers that there has been a significant overrun in the project budget. The project sponsor is unaware of this situation. So what is happening? You are almost at the closure stage. Okay, it's coming to a close. And now you are at the closing process and you discovered that there has been a significant overrun in the project budget. So something has gone wrong and you have spent more money than what was planned. What is the best course of action for the project manager at this point of time? Let us see. Inform the sponsor immediately and present a detailed analysis of the budget overrun. Okay, should we do that? Yes. Right. If I'm at the closest stage, my budget has gone up. Should I inform the project sponsor? Yes. Should I do it immediately? Absolutely. And when I'm informing them, I'm not just passing an information, right? I'm not doing a postman kind of job that, yes, this has happened, this is what I'm doing. I'm also providing a detailed analysis. So I'm also adding value to that information. Okay, so this is a very, very good choice. Let's park this. Then we go to B, C, and D. Attempt to adjust the financial records to hide the budget overrun and close the project. Okay, practically, some people may be doing this, but we don't do that. Okay, not at all ethical to adjust the financial record, not at all proper to hide the budget overrun. We don't do that. Okay, we have to be upfront, we have to face it. Whatever it is, we will learn for the next project. Whatever action is taken is taken. We go to C. Seek advice from external financial consultant to verify the budget overrun before informing the sponsor. See, as such, if a third party is involved, okay, I need to have a proper justification for that. Okay, why should I involve a third party in this? Something should be there which I am not able to do. Okay, and then I would involve the third party. If you remember the previous question, the second question, where we involved external auditor, okay, that involvement was justified. Why? Because stakeholders were having conflict. Okay, if the stakeholders are having conflict, then I am having an external auditor because I want an impartial assessment. I don't want a biased assessment, and hence I am having that. Right? Here, I don't have any such problem. Okay, the project manager discovered that there is already a significant overrun. Right? So I don't need a consultant for that. So the need of this external financial consultant is not justified in this question. Okay, and hence we can eliminate this. Okay, as a project manager, I should be in a position to understand whether the project has gone overrun, over budget or not. For that reason, I don't need a consultant. If my question had said something on the lines of I have not been able to understand, or I'm confused, or I have a doubt, maybe then yes. But as such, I don't need any external system, right? So I have eliminated this. D, wait until the project is closed to inform the sponsor to avoid any negative consequences. So I'll close the project, I'll move to the next project, and then I'll inform the project sponsor. It doesn't make sense. The sponsor would need to know before the close. Right? And hence, A is the good choice. Now, whether it happened or not, okay, but is a very, very good point to note for your exam. Okay, that it may happen that while you are solving questions back to back, okay, in the 180 questions, you may get biased because of the information given in one question compared to something other, right? In the previous question, in the question number 2, we chose external auditor as the correct one. Okay, that does not mean that external financial consultant would also be correct. Okay, to give you an example, if in one project you are having a consultant, does not mean in every project you will need that consultant. Okay, so we have to be a little bit aware about that. This bias also, that one question that I have solved previously might have an impact on my thought process, and I may answer the other question also based on that impact. Okay, so please don't try to look at every question independently, and always think that every question is different. No question is dependent on the previous question. Think of, if it is possible, think of every question as a different project. Okay, so you are managing a different project altogether. Everything is different. Think of it like that. And then when you solve, it will be better. Okay, because sometimes you may have that bias of solving the previous question, which could impact your this question as well. Okay, I'm not sure whether it happened or not, but it's a good point to discuss. So think of every question as a new project that you are attempting. Okay, new project, new situation, new problem. Nothing dependent on anything else. Okay, at this point of time, we don't need any external person. It is not justified. We don't necessarily have to add someone. We can do it on our own. Any doubts, anyone, anybody? Is it clear? The explanation is clear. Please, if someone can confirm, please.
Explanation is clear. Even I thought that we'll have to, first initially I thought we have to have the external financial consultant based on the question earlier.
Yes.
And I thought why we have to bring the third party when the budget is not closed or something. So then I went for the option A.
Right. All right. So it does happen, right? Based on before, and in fact, because we discussed about it and we discussed the explanation also, it would have had more impact. Okay. Question solving will not have that much impact, but it can. Sometimes it does. So we need to take that also away. The more we are aware of what kind of issues we will face in the exam, the better will be prepared. All right, thank you everyone for your response on the chat box also. Let's move to the last question of the day. All right, so let's discuss this. You're managing a complex research project. And the project is in its final stages. During the closing process, you receive a request from the project team to add some research experiments that were initially planned but not executed due to time constraints. The stakeholders believe these experiments are essential for the project's success. Okay, so what's happening here? We are closing the project and the team is requesting to do some research experiment which were planned initially but could not get executed because of the time constraints. So the stakeholders believe these experiments are essential for the project success, right? So there is some success criteria, related to this particular activity that we are adding to, okay? And we are almost at the closure process. And another information that we have is it was initially planned. Okay. Now, based on these information, let us try to say the question: what should you do? They're not saying anything else. What should you do directly? Reject the request. See, generally, typically, most of the times, we don't reject the request. Okay, unless and until we have a solid reason for that. Okay, so the next part should give me a solid reason. Otherwise, this is not a good option, as it is beyond the project scope and may cause delays in closing the project. See, just because it may cause delays in the project, I will not reject the request because somebody thinks that it is essential for success as well. Okay, so not a good choice. Analyze the potential impact of adding the experiments and, if feasible, obtain approval from the project sponsor. It's oozing PMP mindset, right? We should analyze, then we should understand whether it is feasible or not. Then, if required, we need to take approval. We are doing everything right in this option. Okay, so looks like a good choice. Include experiments to the activities as they were initially planned. Okay, now it does talk about that. Okay, that we need to include the experiments, but it is better to analyze the potential impact. Okay, and then try to understand whether we can do it, because we are at the closing stage. If we are not at the closing stage, then probably we could have added the activities and we would have gone ahead with it. But because we are at the closing process, we are almost closing the project, and then somebody is asking, do some extra activity. Okay, although it was initially planned, but not at this point of time, because closer we don't plan for experimentation and other things. So we may need some approval because it might impact the timelines. Okay, so directly including or analyzing and including, always analyzing and including is better. Then D, conduct a quick feasibility study yourself and decide whether to include the experiments or not. Right, so conducting a quick feasibility study is good. To decide whether to include it or not is also good. Okay, but why do we do it yourself? Why can't we do it with others also? And why only feasibility? What about the impact? Okay, feasibility is whether it's possible or not. Okay, impact is what kind of impact it will create, right? And hence D can also be eliminated because I have a better choice. B, as such, C and D are not extremely bad. Okay, but only because I have a better choice, hence I'm going with that. Analyzing and doing things, discussing and doing things is always better than just doing the same thing. All right. Clear, everyone? I think almost all of you answered B as correct. Any doubts in whatever we have discussed? So as you have seen, closing is an important topic. Okay. What we do at closing is just wrapping things up, bringing everything together. And when you are closing, there would be a lot of issues. Okay. Because closing is a time of the project where you are meeting with another project, or you are meeting with operations team. Okay, a lot of things are happening. A lot of external people who are not related to my project are also coming into picture. So it would create a lot of friction, and friction causes problem. Problem makes PMP questions, right? So there will be a lot of PMP questions. What you have to keep in your mind is that whenever we are closing, we are wrapping things up. So we are not doing anything, any activity of the project. Okay, everything has been done. We are just consolidating it, taking a final acceptance, releasing our team, making whatever payment is to be made. Okay, that is the idea of closing. If you have that idea clear in your mind, you will be able to answer all the closing related questions, because ultimately the skills that will be tested would still be the same. Okay, are you jumping to conclusion? Are you understanding the problem? Are you discussing with people and then solving it? Are you considering all the kind of problems, all the kind of causes that could be a reason for your problem, and then solving it, or are you just solving one of the problem? So every time, the best thing to do is to find which option can be eliminated. Okay, if you can eliminate it, then fine. If you cannot, just keep it and compare the options and then decide. Okay, comparing the options would always help you in understanding whatever we are learning. Okay, the moment you compare two options, you will see that this one is talking about two constraints. Okay, not this question, I'm just giving a common example, that one option could be talking about two constraints, one option could be talking about one constraint only. Okay, at that point of time, you will say, okay, this is impacting two of the constraints, so probably this is more detailed than this one, so I can go ahead with this choice. And that's exactly how project managers also think, right? Any negative thing should not impact my project a lot. Any positive thing should impact my project a lot. Okay, so the more benefit we can get, the less impact we can keep in our project, the better we are going to be. Okay, on that note, we close our day for today's discussion. Okay, thanks a lot for your time. I will let you know when we are going to meet next. I'll definitely let you know 2 days in advance. Next thing that we are going to do is we are going to focus a lot on agile. Okay, because recent feedback from successful participants have been that almost 70% of the questions are from agile. Okay, and hybrid. Maybe 20 to 30% questions only are from traditional approach, but that does not mean we should ignore traditional, because you need more time to study traditional. Okay, studying for agile takes less time, studying for agile takes more time. Unfortunately, the question numbers would be less, but you have to focus a lot on agile. There have been feedback about agile. So what I'm doing is I'm planning a revision session on agile where we'll cover everything related to agile, just in this like the discussion that we have. So maybe we'll meet twice or thrice or 2 or 3 days back to back, okay, over the week, preferably next week, and preferably Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Okay, but I'll let you know at this time itself, 8 p.m. India time. We will meet. I'm just giving you an approximate date because there are a lot of things happening with us, because of which sometimes the timing changes, and hence I'm giving a tentative idea that Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday next week we will meet at 8 p.m. for 90 minutes approximately on all the 3 days, and we will be completing our agile part. Okay, so whatever doubts that you have in your mind with respect to agile, please note that down. Okay, keep it somewhere on your note so that when you meet on this day, you can ask all those doubts. Okay, the agenda is to clarify everything related to agile, and it can be done. It can be done in these 4.5 hours. Okay, if it takes more time also, we will stay here, we'll clarify that out, only then we'll move. Okay, but please be prepared for agile. Okay, next week we are going to cover everything about agile. There should not be any doubt about agile whatsoever, at least with respect to what is going to come in PM. Okay, that is what we will do next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. But I'll confirm you by Friday on these dates.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. All
Thank you,
right.
Amit.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Amit. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Amit. Thank you.
you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.